about the wood chips that are being used around the HOA instead of decorative rocks. And so I'm going to throw that question out to you guys. You guys can answer that.
Yeah, I'd be very happy to address wood chips. Wood chips are an aesthetic change. The roof is an aesthetic change. The blue tarps were ugly. This roof, you know, you can argue about Chris May and you want a tile and all of that. Cliff, thank you. But every change like that that's being made, and the paint on the roads, are cheap aesthetic changes, so to make you think that this board is doing something for you. Now the red chips as well is an aesthetic change. Here's the irony. The red chips were purchased, I assume, by our facilities people on direction from wherever they get direction, approval ultimately from the board or from the management, that says go to Home Depot and buy all these redwood chips. 2 days later, we had a panel of fire people, high-ranking fire people, in the community, in the social hall. I think it may have been the first official event that we had after it reopened. So there were 5 or 6 people there, and they were all talking about the importance, under no circumstances do we want to encroach that first 5-foot zone. And for God's sakes, don't put any flammable chips in that 5-foot zone. They filled the 5-foot zone and beyond with these red wood chips. I don't think they're redwood, but they're red wood chips. I took them home. I took a handful home. You may have seen the video. They ignited very easily. They stunk like crazy. I'm sure it was toxic. I'm sure I got in trouble many times over. But nevertheless, they're a fire hazard. They were put contiguous to a wood-sided building, which is not only stupid, it's illegal. I said something to their newly minted fire safety group, whatever the hell the title is, and he said, oh, I didn't realize that, even though he's one of the people that pontificated at this meeting about how important it was not to have any chips in the 5-foot zone. I gave them a few weeks, they weren't removed. I said something again. Somebody looks like they took a rake and took them a little bit away from some of the wood, but if you walk around the building, they're still encroaching the wood. They're contiguous to this wood. It's again a cheap aesthetic change, where in this case, it's highly flammable, highly dangerous, and since I've given constant warnings about it, I have to assume the board just doesn't give a damn.